And of course, it did not play the intro video. Not bad, not bad. So, as I was out sick like a dog, the world was hit by a new threat, the Hantavirus. Obviously, we need to speak about it, but we will not cover what mainstream media is talking about. We're going to address the rumors and the so called conspiracy theories. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I'm joined by my Sunday co host, Peyman and I. Talk about a time for me to get sick. I really never get sick more than, a day. Like I'll feel like crap one day and then the day after I'm good. I've been sick since last Sunday. And during that time, we have a new virus that's taken over the world. I cannot be sick ever again. Never, never again. So, guys, I apologize for not being there for 4 days, but I got good news. The hotline should be working. So, hopefully, today we can start taking real calls from you guys starting in the second half of the show. But for now, let's talk antivirus. Let's talk about what you guys have been hearing, because that's a question I have for you guys. I have a few conspiracy theories. Are they really conspiracy theories or are they not? We'll see. But I found a lot of information, and I know that you guys have heard a lot of rumors, a lot of conspiracy theories too. So please share them with us. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys have seen, what you guys are thinking, and we'll start there. So before we get to the juicy stories, I wanted to show you something that I found extremely interesting. Because obviously, like everybody else out there, I use the Google. So the first thing I heard the first thing I thought about when I heard antivirus is, what is the incubation period between the time of exposure and the time of symptom? First thing that comes up is what you're seeing. Oh, no, hold on. That is not right at all. Wow, don't do this for a week and it's like my brain is mashed potatoes. Awesome. There we go. Let's try that again. Here's what comes up. I swear to you. If you Google right now, what is the incubation period between exposure and symptoms? The first thing that comes up is the Government of Canada's website. And there's a few things, as you can see, they go into detail about what the antivirus is about and what you should be scared about. But there's a couple of things that we need to be aware of right here. Talk about incubation period. As per the Government of Canada, that's pretty standard across the board. You're looking to 2 to 4 weeks, going up to 2 months. That is a massive incubation period. That means that if you've been exposed, you should be in quarantine for up to 2 months. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. But here's something that they don't talk about in the news right here. The majority of antivirus infections occurs in males and in individuals between the age of 20 to 40, which is a bit different from COVID, if you remember correctly. Mostly the elderly, and people with a lot of comorbidities were the most at risk. But the majority of antivirus infections occurs in males. Have you heard about that, Payman? Because I did not hear about that anywhere.
No, I'm not paying attention to anything these organizations are saying, and I hope that the rest of the people similarly are tired of this. We went through 6 years of this where we
Yep.
were screaming that the sky is falling, the World Health Organization pandemic treaty. I've just realized that the best way to fight these guys is to just ignore them like they're bad advertisement.
Yeah, that's always a play. But when it starts impacting your everyday life, you can't ignore it anymore. So I agree with you, but you can't be naive into thinking that it could not be a problem. I'm not saying that antivirus is the problem. I'm saying that the organization that we're going to be talking about today are the problem. But here's what's interesting. Look at this. Look at the date. Public Health Agency of Canada, 2010. 16 years ago, this was published. The first website that comes up, if you Google what is the incubation period between exposure and symptoms antivirus, an article published on Canada.ca from 2010. Right there, I'm like, okay, so you know, there's a lot of people out there that are speaking that this is nothing new, that it's been happening for, that it's been a problem, that it's been known for a few years. There's the proof. Canada, the Public Health Agency of Canada was talking about it in 2010, and some of the articles that they're quoting in there are 2003, 2008, 2010, 2001, 2006, 2000. So the earliest mention that they're using for this article is 1999. Just to give you an example, that's almost 30 years ago. Just putting it into perspective. So this has been going on. Yeah, 1999. Oh shit, yeah, that's almost 30 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's 28. That's 27 years ago. Just to put it into perspective. So this is the incubation period, because obviously you should know that when they're talking about a new virus. But where it gets interesting is when you start trying to see correlation between the way they're talking about it now and the way that they were talking about COVID prior to 2020, at the end of 2018, at the end of 2019, or at the beginning of 2020, like before the lockdowns. And here's what you're going to find pretty interesting. So you have the WHO, obviously, they're the ones that put all those lockdowns on us back during the COVID years. But now the WHO, in an article from May 8th, an article from CNN, the WHO said on Thursday that while it expects more cases to emerge, it does not anticipate a large epidemic anywhere similar to COVID, and underlined that there are no evidence of a widespread transmission risk. On the 10th, on May 10th, which is today, in an article from the CDC, the WHO is also quoted saying the public health risk remains low, stressing the hantavirus outbreak is not comparable to COVID-19. Yet, here is a video. You saw the intro that should have played earlier was a portion of the video that I'm about to share with you. But to put it into perspective, we are talking about the director of the WHO, Dr. Tedros, what he had to say about this. And this video was supposedly published yesterday. So listen to what the director of the WHO had to say.
And then the other issue is, I thank the Prime Minister because based on the request WHO made, he accepted. And the request I made was based on international health regulation. And countries are expected to cooperate based on that international health regulation. But not only the IHR, I think we should also be strong believers of solidarity. Solidarity, because that's our best immunity. It's only when we support each other that we can respond more effectively to virus or to outbreaks like this. And it's also a moral duty. And then the other issue.
What does that sound like to you when you hear the director of the WHO tell us that we need to follow the IHR, and I will explain what the IHR is in a second, that we need to show solidarity for each other? What the hell does that mean to you when you hear that?
Well, I know exactly what he's saying. These are supposed to be recommendations. So a recommendation is like if I say, Nico, you should wash your car once a month. But what the WHO is doing is they're calling it recommendations, but they're making it so that they're essentially international law. Like they're legally binding. You have to do it. The difference now is, as you pointed out to me earlier today, Nico, Trump has left the WHO. Like they've lost a huge player, and Trump bitch slapped Bill Gates, so they don't really have Bill Gates in there either.
thank you for stealing my thunder. Thank you for talking about what I'm about to talk about. Thank you a lot. I always
Sorry,
appreciate that.
Nico. One more thing. I think you'll hate me if I don't mention this. The audience is complaining that your microphone volume is a little bit low. I know you have a new microphone. If there's anything you can do, maybe.
Oh yeah, I can pop the volume right now. I normally try to keep it a bit lower because I tend to go crazy and exaggerate and just lose my shit. But if you're saying that it's too low, give me a second. I'm gonna fix it right now. Hold on here. I just want to make sure. Yeah. Is it better right now? Can you guys tell me if that sounds better or not?
It sounds the same to me. I'll see what the audience is saying.
Oh Jesus, I know why. Oh wow. Okay, you want to see a difference in the microphone quality here?
My eardrums. Oh,
What do you think about this?
there we go. There we go.
So is that better for everybody out there? Because yeah, it wasn't even on my microphone. It was somehow using the microphone on my camera.
Okay. It sounds to me it sounds a lot better, but I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Also, now you're hearing yourself in there.
It's okay. I'll try to talk less, and you can mute your mic when I talk.
Yeah, no. That's all. Man, this damn thing with trying to make this the live chat, the live video work. Not the live video, but the live call-in is turning to be a pain in the bottom. Because now your voice. So are people hearing you double now because you're being processed through my equipment as well? If you talk, what is that? What's happening? You hear yourself?
I believe so. Yep.
And that wasn't happening 2 seconds ago, was it?
No.
What a pain in the bum. How about now? Is it still the same thing?
Testing.
Yeah.
It's still echoing. Try echo cancellation.
No, that has nothing to do with it. It's because your sound is being routed through my interface that I use in order to try to route the calls from later on. I tested it, but I didn't test it with a host. So this is Jesus.
Nico, you continue. You do the most of the show. You need the audio. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, I just don't know how to fix it. I'm sorry, my bro. Going back to what I was talking about. Yeah, I really apologize for this. What a pain this is becoming. I'll figure it out. I apologize, guys. I'll figure it out, though. Here is something you guys definitely need to look into is right here. So we were talking, well, the video that I showed a few minutes ago now, since we've been talking about microphone problems, was about the IHR, the International Health Regulations. I don't know for you guys, but I did not know them by heart. So I went and I looked into what the IHRs are. And I found, once again, on the Government of Canada website, that you won't be surprised to hear that we do follow the IHR. We did follow them during COVID. And just to put you into perspective, what the IHRs are, they were based in 2005. They are binding on the World Health Organization in 196 countries, known as state parties, including Canada. Came into force in 2007, requires countries to work together for global health security. They're focused on addressing serious public health threats that have the potential to spread beyond a country's border to other parts of the world. Through the IHR, countries have agreed to build their capacity to detect, assess, report, and respond to public health events. I don't know for you, but that doesn't sound good to me. Then right here, the part, other obligations established by the IHR require countries to, for example, strengthen their national surveillance and response capacities, as well as report certain public health events to the WHO. Strengthen their national surveillance and response
capabilities. Doesn't that sound problematic to you? That they need to also monitor and evaluate real life events, emergency preparedness and response exercises. The success of the IHR implementation in Canada relies on ongoing collaboration by all partners to carry out surveillance, reporting, notification, verification, response, and collaboration activities across the country and at international points of entry, airports, ports, and ground crossings. So this sounds familiar to probably all of you because this was used during COVID. But one of the things that I did not know is that on June 1st, 2024, there were amendments made to the IHR. The World Health Organization member states agreed on a set of amendments to the international health regulations. This agreement came 2 years after 2 years of negotiation amongst member states. These amendments align with Canada's commitment to strengthen global health security and to protect the health of the safety of Canadians and strengthen global commitments to preparedness, surveillance, and response for public health emergencies. Doesn't that sound scary as hell to you guys?
I'm just going to jump in. I see you're muted your mic. Thank you. The IHR, this is, can you hear me?
Now I don't think your sound works. Could you guys hear him when I muted myself, or you couldn't hear him? Can anybody say if you guys could hear Peyman when I was muted? Or yes, awesome. Okay, go for it, man.
Yeah, the IHR, it was pushed through during the Biden administration. The Biden administration was peak climate change. Sorry?
Actually, no, the IHR. Oh, no, hold on. The IHR. Yes, you're right. You're correct. You're correct. The IHR, you're correct.
It's okay. I don't claim to be an expert on this, but it happened during the time the Biden administration. They kicked out Trump. It was peak COVID. They were trying to take over the world through climate change, and everything fell apart after the 2024 election. Now the world is going in a different direction. I'm not saying that we're going towards paradise, but this whole climate change, One Health agenda, medical tyranny, it doesn't pack the same punch that it did under Biden. So I don't think I think that's why Hantavirus is not COVID all over again. It's just they tried it and they failed. They'll find some other way.
And I hope you're right. I hope you're absolutely correct. But that's not what you see in the news, right? In the news, you see Hantavirus absolutely everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. That's all they seem to be talking about. It seems that we've forgotten anything else. It's all about Hantavirus. But the whole point about this is kind of to show you the similarities I saw with COVID as I was looking into this today, because first I'll go back to what you said earlier. It is true that Donald Trump, the president of the US, initiated the formal withdrawal of the United States from the World Health Organization on January 20th, 2025. So it is in process that they will no longer be part of the WHO. So obviously the IHR will not be applicable to the US, which is a good thing. But obviously this is not what we're seeing in Canada. But some of the things that I wanted to address were based on some of the conspiracy theories that I was seeing out there. I follow a lot of conspiracy theorists. Probably that people think I'm one. Maybe I am. But I wanted to see if what was being said out there was actually accurate or not. But I also wanted to see if I could see some correlations with COVID because I'm a big fan of history. If you want to know what's coming, look at what happened in the past. It tends to be very cyclical. And I hope people are not fooled again. If that's the path that we're going down right now, if this is indeed going to happen again, I want people to know what the hell is going on. This is the whole point of today, right? So one of the conspiracy that I've seen out there is that Moderna has been working on a vaccine since 2024, a Hantavirus vaccine since 2024. Because if you remember, that's what was happening with COVID-2, right? We found out later that the vaccine was already in the works prior to COVID becoming a world pandemic. So is that what we're seeing now? Well, it turns out that that's not a conspiracy theory at all. Korea University, that this article is from September 9th, 2024. Korea University Vaccine Innovation Center teams up with Moderna on mRNA-based antivirus vaccine development. So that is not a conspiracy theory. So if you've seen it out there, it is actually a fact, and it is true that Moderna has been working on a vaccine since 2024. Not only that, not only have they been working on a vaccine, but I don't know if you guys heard about this, but ever since the announcement that Moderna has been working on a vaccine, which they talked about this week, their stock has gone up 16%. Moderna Inc.'s shares rose 16% on Friday after Bloomberg reported the company confirmed its research on antivirus vaccines. This is what we're seeing. Something like what's happening on the cruise. Now Moderna admitting that they've been working on a vaccine for 2 years now. That somehow boosts. People are not worried about this. This is no, this is okay. Oh, they have a vaccine already. Goddamn, we're going to be saved. But this is not a conspiracy theorist. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's actually fact. We're talking about some very mainstream places like Bloomberg are reporting that they've been working on it for a long time now. Now, the thing that I'm seeing everywhere, and it kind of corroborates what you've been saying, is there's nothing here, right? The antivirus is whatever. Don't care. Nobody, like, I don't care. I don't talk about it. I don't watch it. So whatever. I don't know if you remember this, but this is exactly what our public health expert did during COVID. Because one of the conspiracies that I keep on hearing is that our public health experts are purposely downplaying the risk of the antivirus, just like they did during COVID-19. Now, COVID-19 was a while ago. Like, it's hard for me to believe, even as we speak about this, that we started hearing about this in January 2020. 6 years ago, man. It's insane to me to even think about how long this has been in our lives, but you guys might have not remembered this. I did not know this. I did not even know. I was still working for the man during those days. I didn't have time to be on the social media. I was busy selling contracts to high-end customers. But look at this. Look at what I digged out. A World Health Organization Twitter post, because back then it was Twitter, dated January 14th, 2020. Preliminary investigation conducted by the Chinese authority have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the novel coronavirus identified in #Wuhan, #China. This was January 14th, 2020. Then, 6 days later, not even a week later, the WHO posts on Twitter again. It is now very clear from the latest information that there is at least some human-to-human transmission of COVID-2019 infectious among healthcare workers strengthen the evidence for this. So there is transmission between human to human, and infections among healthcare workers strengthen this evidence. That was 2 days after. That was, my apologies, 6 days after, on January 20th. Then, 2 days after that, on January 22nd, the WHO, this is on the website of the WHO. The WHO's mission to Wuhan issued a statement saying that evidence suggests human-to-human transmission in Wuhan, but that more investigation was needed to understand the full extent of transmission. Then it's okay if you forgot. But 7 days after that, on January 30th, 2020, the EC advised the Director General that the outbreak now meet the criteria for a PHEIC. The P, that stands for Public Health Emergency of International Concern, which, for your information, the PHEIC designation is the highest level of alert issued by the WHO, declared when an extraordinary, sudden, or serious event poses a risk to other nations through the international speed of disease or spread of disease. It serves as a formal call to action and a last resort. That was January 30th. And then around March 16th, both in the US and in Canada, we started our 2 weeks to flatten the curve, which turned into 2 years of lockdown, vaccines, and vaccine passports to be able to go to the restaurants. So are health experts downplaying the Hantavirus just like they did pre-COVID-19 pandemic? You tell me. I'm just presenting the fact. We went from January 14th, this is not a problem. January 20th, oops, there might be transmission human to human. On the 22nd, yeah, there's definitely transmissions from human to human. On the 30th, 16 days before they told us that there was no problem, or after they told us there was no problem, yeah, this is a world pandemic and this is a massive problem. Then a month and a half after that, we were entering the 2 weeks to flatten the curve that turned into 2 years of lockdown. Before, I got one more conspiracy theory for you guys. Let me share my screen again. Let's update this. Pow. Comes from Instagram. It reports, and I'm going to air quote report here. Canada is preparing to spend $20 billion on the new Hantavirus vaccine expected in 6 months, while also dropping another $10 billion on masks and PPE. Canadians are struggling with housing and food costs, but somehow there's always billions ready for this. I'm sure you guys have seen this. This has gone viral all over the place. I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen it on X. I did some research, and unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to see it, I could not find any proof of this. And all I'm going to say is I couldn't find any proof. But if you do have proof, if you found something that proves this, please send it to me. I want to see it. Send it to info@thepoliticalorphans.com. I want to see it. But it is worth mentioning that the total projected budget for Health Canada, the department at the federal level that takes care of this, is $10.4 billion. That's their entire budget. That's the whole entire budget of the Department of Health of Canada is $10.4 billion. So if it's true that they are preparing to spend another $20 billion on the new Hantavirus vaccine on top of another $10 billion on masks and PPEs, that means they're quadrupling their budget, their 2027 budget, which no proof of this. I'd be very curious to see where people get that information from, because if you look at the amount of views that post got, you're talking hundreds of thousands of views just on Instagram alone. So a lot of people have seen that post. I wonder if you guys have seen that post. Did you guys believe this when you first saw it? Or did you go like me and start researching it? Because it's important we don't believe everything that we see online. Like, even if I normally trust a certain account, that doesn't mean that I will believe everything they're saying. I always double check what they're saying, because this happens all the time. So, question for you guys. What have you heard? Have you heard some conspiracy theories out there, some rumors that I have not addressed? Because I want to hear about them, so drop them in the comment. I also want you guys to tell me, do you think that we're looking at a COVID lockdown 2.0? Or is that just fluff? Is that just crap like Peyman believes it is? And I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying it's an opinion, and it's a valid opinion. Or, you know what? Let me ask you this on top of that. If you do believe that there's a possibility of COVID lockdowns 2.0, are you going to fall for it again? Are you going to be different from what you were back in COVID time? Because from what I've heard, there's a lot of people that would never fall for it again. Is that your situation? How did you follow the trends back in COVID times? Were you like me and you said fuck off to all that shit and lost your career over it? Are you going to act differently this time, if there is at this time right now? Those are the questions I have for you guys. But before we get to your question, to your answers, remember this: no matter what you did last time, don't forget that you have the power to say no to whatever's coming. You can choose not to comply. It's not because you followed last time that you need to repeat the same thing this time, if there is a this time right now. Guys, I want to open the lines. You guys should be able to call now. I tested it out without Peyman on the show. I should have tested it with a co-host, but now everything should be working. You guys should be able to call in. I should be able to take your calls. I should be able to finally hear you guys and actually have a real conversation. So if you're interested in calling in and having your voice heard, go to callme.rode.com. Call me, CALLME.RODE.com. I believe, see, it's scrolling at the bottom of your screen right now. Go to callme.rode.com and enter the code SFLXJY, and I should be able to bring your voice on the show. What are you thinking, Peyman?
Thanks for muting. I mean, on the one hand, Canada needs another COVID event so that it has an excuse to print money so that it can keep the economy going. And we are so far down this socialist road that to deny that Canada is a socialist nation, it would be just ludicrous. Like, this is what we are. So so there is a big desire on the part of the government to say, all right, let's jump on this COVID thing. On the other hand, so normal people, normies, people who would always vote elbows up, they're starting to wake up. And I've had people tell me that they believe that the COVID vaccine is causing cancers. So if the brain dead normies are waking up, I shouldn't be rude. If the average rank and file centrist is waking up, it's going to be harder this time around. And secondly, there has been an exodus of investment in Canada. So Mark Carney might not be able to lean into this the same way that Trudeau had carte blanche to just ravage and rape our economy. I'll stop there. And since we're having microphone issues, I can bring up the comments and then you read them this time. I'll mute my mic.
Sorry, I'm muted. No, you can read them. I'll address them. You read them.
All right, let's see what we got. First one, just is Serena Modaferi says, "Missed you, Nico. Glad you are feeling better." So thank you, Serena. How about this one? Maybe you'd like to address this. Derek Cruz says, "The only way they can justify mail-in votes is another pandemic."
Damn, that's that's an interesting point of view. It would definitely do that, but you know, I see it as more than that. This is now. Am I saying it's going to happen or not? I don't know. To me, in my opinion, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before we see another COVID-19 style pandemic. To me, it's just a matter of time. The fact that they added more amendments that seems to connect the world even more together since COVID that were not in place during COVID just tells me that something else is there. Those people want power not to leave it on the table. If they are passing things that seems to be tyrannical, guess what? They have plans to use it. So I would push it even further. You're thinking mail-in ballots. It doesn't even matter, man. You do realize that governments could go on emergencies and stop elections, right? Like, that's the thing. You can look at what's happening in the Ukraine. The Ukraine has not had an election since something like 2019. Why? Because they're in an emergency. They're in a war. So Zelensky has been the president of Ukraine since like 2019 or 2020 because there's no elections because they're under emergency. You don't think the same thing can happen here in Quebec? During COVID, we had the worst restrictions in North America, if not the world, in Quebec. And you know what they did? They had the emergency, the equivalent of the Emergency Act, but it needed to be renewed every month because it was never meant to be used in an extended fashion. So they renewed it for almost 2 years. They renewed the emergency every month. We got to do it again. Oh, guys, we got to do it again. Oh, guys, we're going to do it again. So I think that mail-in ballots is the least of your concerns. What I see is if this happens again or when it happens again and it's going to be a matter of do we fall for it or not. Because the thing to remember, guys, is that they're pushing Bill C2, C8, C9, C12, C16, C22, C25. You're going to have a new C63 that's going to have some social media bans. What do you think happened last time during COVID? Everybody stayed home. Everybody was online. What do you think is going to happen if the government now has the freedom to not only spy on you, but has all the telecommunication companies record you, keep it? They have the power of labeling your text hate speech. They have the power to imprison you. So not only are you stuck at home, but they also have all new types of powers to keep your speech controlled. Because remember, Bill C8 allows the government to cut the internet of anybody they see as a threat to the telecommunication network of Canada. What do you think that means if you're stuck at home, not being able to go anywhere, you can't work? You know what they did during COVID the first time? They tried communists. They literally tried communism by giving people money for not working. You don't think that they're going to do that again? If you look at everything that's coming right now, we have gas prices that are through the roof. We have Kuzma that's supposed to be renegotiated by July 1st. And as per what we're hearing from the US, nothing has been done on the side of Canada in months. They're talking about taking our guns away. They're talking about social media bans. They pass bills criminalizing emotions. They're passing bills giving them the power to remove you from the internet. Now we have the Hantavirus that is not a threat, but as I just proved to you, within the span of 2 weeks, it went from not being a problem to being declared a world pandemic. This is how fast it moves. So this is why I wanted to talk about this, guys, because I want the people out there to understand that shit can happen and will happen again, but it's up to us to do something about it and say no. Because that's a fact. If you say no to this, what are they going to do? Imagine that they tell you to stay home. Nobody stays home. Okay, cool. What are they going to do? They don't have the forces to stop you. They don't. They just don't. What happens if you don't follow what they tell you to do? Are they going to be able to force you? Not really. Not if everybody does it. If there's a couple of people, obviously, yes. But you have to understand that we do have that power. So no matter what you think about this, hopefully, you guys can stand up and just say no if you don't believe in it. And, you know, I'm going to take this from Trevor, another distraction. I hope you're right. I hope you're right that it's just another distraction. I really hope you're right. But I do strongly believe that there will be another situation where they will take full advantage of the policies that they've been passing since COVID in order to pass more. Because if you guys didn't know this, during COVID, they installed a shitload of 5G towers. That's why during COVID, I don't know if you remember this, but everybody was, like a lot of conspiracies were talking about how COVID like 5G interacts with COVID. To most people, that sounds like it's absolutely insane. If you understand how technology works, it's not that insane. I'm not saying that there's proof, because I spoke to some of the biggest names in the COVID conspiracy world, and I'm talking about doctors, I'm talking about virologists, I'm talking about medical experts out there. Some of them report that there are payloads in those vaccines that they cannot explain. They don't know what they do. There's things in a lot of those vaccines, those mRNA vaccines, that they cannot explain what they do. Why are they in those vaccines? And why I'm mentioning 5G, because 5G enables what we call real-time communication. It enables remote control of everything. So, we do have a call. You know what? I'm going to stop talking right here. Don, let's see if we can hear you, Don. Hello? I can hear some background noise, but I cannot hear Don.
I can hear you, Nico.
Hey, Don, what is going on?
Hey, Nico and Peyman. No, I think they're just floating around the idea, right? Like, and to see who will comply, or just to see that kind of feedback on what the reaction is to such a horrible mouse thing is on a cruise ship. You know, it's crazy.
Something that's been around for 26 years, like I was showing earlier. Literally, the government of Canada has an article from 2010 on their website quoting papers from 1999. So this is nothing new. This is something that's been going on for a long time. It's just, you see how the news is using it? Is that going to enable them to take advantage of the situation again? Because I don't know a lot of people that don't see a problem with the way COVID was handled. Right? No matter what you believe during COVID, looking back, did the government take advantage of COVID? I don't know a lot of people that will say no.
Okay. But clearly, that's not reality.
Oh,
they took advantage of everything, right? So this whole idea of, like, I think I read today there was like 3 more Canadians quarantined, you know,
yep,
because they were, you know, like, oh my gosh, like, I live out of town, right? I've cleaned many mouse traps and stuff, right? I don't care. You know, like, when my time comes, and my time comes, I'm not waiting on the government, right? It's like, today I got my Statistics Canada census, right? It's like, who the hell are you, right? Like, don't care what you want, right? But I got an internal error. Maybe it's disconnected.
No, you're still there.
I don't know.
We can still hear you. I don't know.
Good.
We can still hear you.
Yeah, just the games being played is just like, oh my gosh, like, enough already. Like, don't care.
Well, I appreciate your call. Nice to speak to. Nice to finally speak to you, Don. And thank you again for your contribution. This call is brought to you by Don.
There you go.
Thanks.
You guys have a great night.
You too,
I'll
man.
keep listening.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye. Well, there you have it. First call. That was cool. I like it. Peyman, anything to add to this?
No, I'm glad that it worked. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of activity in the comments. I think people are on pins and needles. Further to the previous question, Cindy Yaxitz Servatius says, They are rolling out in 6 months the bioweapon just in time for Alberta to vote.
I'm not sure. Are you referring to the same comment as I show? The same, I'm going to call it a conspiracy theory, but the same thing I was talking about earlier about the $20 billion that Canada is ready to invest in antivirus vaccines in the next 6 months and another 10 on masks and PPE. Is that what you're talking about? Because I don't know if you saw that earlier, but I did some research earlier and I could not find any credible source at all. The only thing I could find was literally that post being reshared and reshared and reshared, but I could not find any official statement anywhere saying that that was the case. Now, does that mean it's complete nonsense? Not necessarily. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that I could not prove this so-called conspiracy theory. And I'm just putting it out there that the whole budget, the 2026-2027 budget for Health Canada as a whole is something like 10.3, is between 10 billion and 11 billion dollars. So if they're adding another $30 billion to their budget, they're literally quadrupling their budget, which, is it possible? Yeah, Mark Carney is printing money left, right, and center. So is it a possibility? Absolutely. But I could not find any proof of that.
Here's another one from, these names are impossible. Y Schmidlin 8172. One of the side effects of the COVID vaccine, according to the Pfizer reports, is Hantavirus pulmonary infection.
Correct. I've seen many reports. I've seen many very, very credible doctors in the US speaking about this, and it is shown in the Pfizer reports that the hantavirus pulmonary infection is one of the side effects of the hantavirus, and it's a respiratory problem, just like COVID was. So yes, I saw the same thing, and I've seen the document posted by many credible sources. So yeah, it is not a coincidence. Definitely not.
Here's another one. I kind of like this comment. Derek Crew says, when you give up freedoms in emergencies, you will get more emergencies.
You know, I believe it's Winston Churchill that said, those who are ready to trade their freedom for security deserve neither. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing. He said it way better than I just did, but that is the gist of it, and I agree with it. And that's what I was saying earlier. If governments don't give themselves the power to be tyrannical without ever planning of using it, there's no consequences. I got a reel right now that's going viral on Instagram because I got the chance to record with Dr. Mark Trozy. I don't know if you know who that guy is, Peyman, but I've been hearing about this guy for years, and finally 2 weeks ago I got the chance to record with him. And one of my favorite interviews, I gotta say, I really hit it off. Like, the guy is just super well spoken, but he's super cool too. Like, he's just a cool dude. And you just see what happened with this guy. But one of the things that I was asking, because he's a doctor and I was super forward with him, I'm like, hey, are you ashamed of being a doctor considering what happened during COVID? Like, those are the type of questions that I was asking him, and he was super responsive. Like, what a great guy. But I got a reel that's going viral right now, and I was saying basically that doctors, just like our government, should be held responsible for what they did during COVID, because our government used the Emergencies Act illegally, and it was found to be unconstitutional by the Supreme Court of Canada. And then you look at the doctors, they pushed vaccines that they knew nothing about. mRNA was brand new technology that had never been tested on people until COVID, and doctors pushed that on their patients. So I was telling him, I'm like, they need to be held accountable. And on top of that, you know, another thing I was saying during that interview is I've met a lot of people over the years that regretted taking the vaccine, but I haven't met one single person that told me they regretted not taking the vaccine. Not one. Not one. I haven't met one yet. And just as an announcement, because I wanted to talk about this earlier, but I completely forgot. At the end of this month, after the interview that I had with Dr. Mark Trozy 2 weeks ago, right after we were done, he sends me an email. He's like, man, I really like the way you run your interviews. I really appreciate it. And I grilled him. Like, I asked him questions that I'm pretty sure he was never asked before. And he invited me to Rhode Island at the Better Way conference that's taking place in Rhode Island at the end of the month. And he told me, he's like, hey man, if you want to come, I'm going to get you a journalist pass so that you can come and attend. And I don't know if you know what the Better Way conference is. I invite you guys to Google it. Who is there? Like, I got some people on there that I've wanted to speak to ever since I started doing podcasting 4 or 5 years ago. People that have been on Joe Rogan's podcast. The list is insane. So I threw that to, because I do work with Vaccine Choice Canada, right? So I emailed Ted Kuntz and I'm like, hey, by the way, have you ever thought about sending journalists to events like this? So it turns out I'm going at the end of the month. I'm going to be in Rhode Island. Not only am I going to be in Rhode Island, but the organizer of the event has agreed to give me a booth where I'm going to set up all my equipment, my cameras, my microphones, and I'm going to be sitting there getting people. Hopefully I get some of the biggest names in the fucking world to come speak to me and have a small conversation. So yeah, this is it's coming up at the end of the month. Just saying, I'm going to go down there as a journalist for Vaccine Choice Canada. I'm really excited about this. This is very cool.
I wonder if Anthony Fauci is going to show up. Maybe you could talk to him, punch him in the face for me.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
We got a good comment from Califu. Before COVID hysteria took over, the mainstream media primed the population for at least a decade. Zika, bird flu, swine flu, SARS, and maybe a few others. The mainstream media is throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks.
This is exactly, you're absolutely right. And it's more than a decade. If you go back, it's something like since the 90s. They've been talking, because what are you talking about? You're at least a decade. Yeah, you're probably more talking like 30 years, 40 years. Because remember Zika, remember bird flu, remember SARS. You remember what was the little powder that could come in letters, like that was being sent around?
Anthrax.
If you look every couple of years, there was a list that I saw not that long ago where the guy just went on with all the viruses in danger. Ebola, do you remember? That was also a problem back in the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. If you start looking at all the viruses that they've advertised to try to scare you, do you think that's a coincidence that if you look at the amount of vaccines, I'm 44 years old. When I was a kid, vaccines, we had a few vaccines, like what, 5 vaccines, 10 vaccines? My son's 10 months old. He's unvaccinated. He got nothing. My wife delivered him 100% naturally. He has not been injected with anything and never will be. By now, if we would have followed all the vaccines that they would have wanted him to have, he would have had more vaccines that I've taken in 44 years. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I believe that in Canada, I have to research the numbers properly, but I'm like 99% sure that you're looking over 80 to 100 vaccines by the time a kid is 18 if you follow the vaccine schedule in Canada. So do you think it's a coincidence that ever since they've been pushing those Zika, bird flu, swine flu, SARS, Ebola, anthrax, COVID, now Hantavirus, like, do you think it's a coincidence that the vaccines go up? What did I say earlier? On Friday, Bloomberg announced that Moderna was working on a vaccine. Their stocks went up 16%. Do you think that's a coincidence that they keep on pushing them?
We got one more comment. I really want to bring this up for you. Claire says, already bought my virtual pass for the Better Way conference.
Well, Claire, I'm gonna be there. I'm very, very excited about this. Being able to set up all my gear. I'm gonna show up with it's gonna be interesting because I'm gonna be traveling. Obviously, I'm gonna be flying, so I'm gonna be flying with 3 cameras. I'm gonna be flying with lights, all my gear, so it's gonna be interesting. I've done it before, but not with that much equipment. That's right. I'm gonna do it at the end of the month. But yeah, I suggest if you haven't heard about the Better Way conference, I suggest you check it out because the people that are gonna be there is insane. Absolutely insane. I think it's Brett Weinstein or Brent. I'm not saying his last name properly, but he was a doctor at the university in the US that started talking against the woke crap and he ended up losing his job. He's been on Joe Rogan a bunch of time. Is it Yeah, it is. Oh, is it Weinstein? Oh yeah, it is Weinstein. So I don't know if you know this guy. You know this guy, right? Brett Weinstein?
Oh, he's amazing.
He's going to be there. He's going to be there. He's going to be one of the presenters. So I'm not saying I'm going to make it happen, but I'm going to do my best to make it happen. Can you imagine if I get to sit down with Brett Weinstein, even if it's for 10 minutes, I don't care. How amazing that would be. We're talking about somebody that's on the world level. There's a bunch of those doctors that are there. And I'm telling you, I'm going to do my best to be able to sit down with them and maybe have them come on the show. I'm just saying.
I guess we can do one final comment. This is from Firecracker. I'm sure he's not trying to be rude. He's just being honest. Stop calling the COVID vaccine a vaccine. It's not a vaccine. It's an experimental gene therapy.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Dr. Malone, funny enough, is going to be there. If I'm not mistaken, I just want to Google. Yeah, I believe I have to look at the list again, but I believe that Dr. Malone might be at that conference too. So it's not only that. There was another one. What's his name? Shit. There's another very known doctor that spoke during COVID, and he doesn't believe in viruses whatsoever. I've had him on the show before. Rob was there, and he was just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Viruses don't exist. His name slips my mind right now. But he's a very well-known doctor. I've interviewed him a couple of times. But yeah, I've heard those before, that viruses are not real. I can't prove it. I'm not a doctor. I don't know enough to know if it's true or not. But the people are credible. The ones that are talking about it are credible. So it's hard for me not to agree with them. But I don't know.
Is it Peter McCullough?
I don't believe so. I know who Peter McCullough is, but I don't believe it's him.
All right. Well, I don't know if you want to end the show. Trevor says, great show, guys. Cheers, chat. Great show, guys. Cheers.
No, it is not Pierre Corey. I have him. I can find him in my list of guests that I've had because I've had him a few times on the show. He's amazing. He's super known. I don't know what's going on with my brain right now. I'm still recovering. I don't know if you guys can still hear me sniffing, but my nose is absolutely clogged still after a week of being sick. That has never happened to me, so I don't know what the hell's going on. But on that note, guys, we're done. We're 4 minutes over. I apologize for the problems we were having earlier. Well, technically we still are right now, so I still have some work to do, but I'm excited to know that the lines are now open. They're now working. Don was able to call in, so hopefully starting tomorrow, guys, you start taking advantage of the Orphans hotline and call in, because I want to hear from you guys. I want to be able to talk to you voice to voice, and I know it might be stressful. I get it. I fully understand it. But I still want to hear you guys. I want to be able to talk to you guys. Comments are great, but I also want to be able to hear you guys. On that note, tomorrow we're going to be talking census. Because I saw a post over the weekend that was claiming that the census is not, you are not legally obligated to fill out the census. Some people most of what you hear is you have to do it legally. I saw a post by somebody that was very credible saying that it was not illegal not to fill it out. So you were okay to do it. But I need to investigate it. I don't know if it's true or not, but tomorrow we will be talking about. I will do some research. And I also want to talk about that on Tuesday. This is going to be a very interesting one because I've lived in the woods for years during COVID. And one of the things that I was looking at is to have my house 100% off grid. All I was missing to make it happen were solar panels. If I would have stayed there a bit longer, it was going to happen. I would have been 100% off grid. And tomorrow we are talking. I'm going to be joined by Homestead. Not tomorrow, my apologies, on Tuesday. I'm going to be joined by Homestead consultant Don Mitchell to speak about exactly that, how to become 100% self-sufficient when it comes to your food and why you need to be very careful about our food supply. So Tuesday is going to be a very interesting episode. So on that note, we see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Until then,